Engagement GPT is People AI's AI-powered sales assistant. Now, with any powerful sales assistant, the first thing I'd want it to do is tell me what it can do for me as a sales leader, sales manager, as a seller. Immediately, Engagement GPT actually introduces itself in a very polite way, in a very human way, but it also gives hints on what it can do for you. It can track your team's performance, give you the takeaways and coaching headlines. It can identify deals and accounts at risk. But really, as I mentioned earlier, this is just the tip of the iceberg based on all the data that People AI has. And going back to what Jonathan said, this is customizable to the leading indicators that matter to you and your business. It's not a one-size-fits-all. But let's take a look at this really quickly. Immediately, without me having to do anything, Engagement GPT already provides some seller coaching, some account insights, and some deal insights based on the data in People AI. What's great about this is seller coaching is based on the engagement metrics or leading indicators that a manager or a sales leader has set for their teams. In addition to that, because of People AI's industry-leading account activity capture and matching, we're able to match activities and people in buying groups to the proper accounts, so we can actually give you some advice on which accounts may be at risk. And last but not least, I showed you Account GPT and our account scorecards. Well, we also use the data from account and opportunity scorecards to actually provide a human qualitative view in what opportunities or accounts are at risk as well. But the great thing about sales assistants like Engagement GPT is the ability to double click and ask it questions. But instead of me typing, it's smart enough to actually provide some suggestions on what I could move forward with just a click of the button. So I'm going to say, let's look into some deals. Next up, it provides, I told it, hey, let's look at some deals. I want to see some deals at risk. And it explains to me what leading indicators it's looking at. Right now, it's looking at engagement levels, which deals have executives engaged or no executives engaged, which deals are single-threaded versus multi-threaded. So is the buying group composed of a diverse set of departments, or are we relying on one department to win this deal? It even looks at MedPick scorecards and other deal insights. Now, what's super useful about this is we have one at-risk deal called StarTech. And based on the signals that it looked at, it actually explains how they apply to StarTech. So if you can imagine the calculations and the math that's going on behind the scenes, right? A human would have to look at tables and rows of data, filter, sort, search, and things like that. But with Engagement GPT, it sums all that up for you. So what do we have here? We have engagement levels low and trending down. And engagement levels are auto-calculated by People AI out of the box, but customizable to what your account opportunity and person engagement level criteria is. Next, there are no executives engaged. How do we know this? Well, because of the power of our people graph, we can look at persona and department data and determine whether somebody's an executive or not, or whether a buying group includes the right altitude of executives or not. And lastly, account and opportunity scorecards. We want to mix the quantitative data of math and AI with a qualitative human and the art of selling with account and opportunity scorecard inputs from the sellers as well. So just with about 20 seconds, we've been able to do a decently comprehensive deal review without even me having to type anything into the chat box. But let's change gears a little bit. What good is an AI assistant if I could just ask it something completely different than what we started with, right? So in this case, we want to talk about executives engaged. So you told me that there are no executives engaged in this deal. Okay, great. How are you going to help me? What's my next best action? So I'm going to click on No Executives Engaged. And what it's going to do is that it's actually going to look at this deal, the members of the buying group, and it's going to suggest potential contacts that could be valuable to the success of this deal to include in the buying group. So what do we have here? We have 2 contact suggestions. One is a VP of BizOps, and the other one is an SVP of marketing, right? So this works if you want to help multi-threading a deal, taking it from being single-threaded by finding more potential buying group members in other departments, but you can also do this by title as well. And this is only possible because of the data differentiators that People AI has. So in this case, we have inferred buying power range, we have an inferred effect on deals as well. So this is great by itself. But what can I do to have it create something for me, have engagement GPT do some busy work for me as well? Because analyzing data, getting takeaways is incredibly powerful. But we all have manual data entry work in our lives. So what I'm going to do is, again, change gears and say, I want my team to go after GE, General Electric. But instead of my team having to do research on the company profile, can you just give us some starting information? And the answer is always absolutely. So what's going to do is that it's going to use Account GPT to do research on your team's behalf on General Electric. So it could come up with corporate goals and objectives, the industries this account competes in, the competitive landscape, and the questions go on and on. But the best part, and to wrap us up, is these are is powered by the same generative AI as Account GPT. What does that mean? Well, it means that you can immediately go to the account plan or copy this account research info to share with your team, or as a seller, I could immediately insert that into my account and opportunity scorecards.